We do have a fully integrated solution for One Retail as well as Acumatica. What that means is you can process credit card transactions directly in One Retail. We worked with One Retail to help them provide and build in our integration. You can also process directly with inside Acumatica. And one way that we help automate that is what I'd like to demonstrate here now is our bank deposit feature, and it helps to automate the reconciliation of the funded batches from credit card gateway to act directly in Acumatica. So let me bring up here, we're gonna start a new deposit. In just a few clicks, you'll be able to see that here that you can easily reconcile the transactions from the gateway, whether they came from both either Acumatica or from One Retail. So here you see a bank deposit. We're going to select the cash account or our deposit account. We're going to select a date. We're going to select the processing center or location. So the processing center is a one-to-one relation to the merchant account in the gateway. So if you have multiple locations, maybe multiple retail stores, you'd have a separate processing center, and these would be separate batches in the gateway, and you would just duplicate it for each of the locations. So here we're going to enter a reference number. We're going to save. So where our integration comes into play now is here with our load transactions. So once I select load transactions, this is going to go out to the gateway, grab the transactions detail from the funding report, and match it up automatically to all the payments that exist in Acumatica. So we're eliminating the need to manually match the payments. It's doing it for you. You notice here it's running both in this location. It's running both One Retail transactions as well as credit card transactions that were done in Acumatica, again, eliminating the need to process multiple times. It gives you totals and amounts and variances. So it also breaks down any charges. So at the end of the month, if there's any credit card fees, they'll be automatically updated and added here and set to the expense account related to any of the bank fees. Sometimes inside those charges, it could be additional fees. And we've noted that here in the notes, a breakdown of the fees. So in this case, there was a chargeback and then third-party adjustment. We give you a breakdown of the fees. But most importantly, we give you an exceptions tab. This would be a scenario where a transaction was funded in that funding report, deposited in the account, but during our load transaction process, it couldn't find a corresponding payment in Acumatica. So in this scenario, we provide all the details from the gateway to make it easier for you to find out find which transaction and what happened. In this case, this transaction was transacted outside of Acumatica, outside of a One Retail environment. Somebody entered a transaction directly in the gateway and they didn't record it in Acumatica. So these scenarios do come up, but it's as simple as taking the payment ref and running a record transaction to sync that payment directly into Acumatica, and then you'll be able to add it to the bank deposit and release and update financials. This eliminates a lot of the manual entry and manual back and forth and gives you the tools you need to find any exceptions or issues that may arise. Right? So as you saw here, and as you saw before with Jerry, One Retail fully integrated with the credit card processing. But you can also perform a lot of those functions directly in Acumatica for maybe B2B or other transactions where you're not necessarily using the front of the house or point of sale environment. So one way we also help, an additional way we also help in automating things for credit card processing in Acumatica is we provide a nice process flow, with a feature we call Capture for More. So in an environment where you have sales orders and you're taking a pre-authorization which is a hold on the funds, and then you're going to process that sales order, you're going to ship it, and then maybe you add freight at the shipment. So it's going to change the amount. Then you're going to invoice, and because it's a pre-authorized payment, it's not fully captured, it's just a hold. At the time you invoice, you're going to capture. But we need to capture for the amount including the freight that was added. So we've automated that capability with the feature that we had once enabled in our integration called Capture for More that will do all that for you without any intervention. So here you see I have a sales order. The sales order is ready to take payment. See it's waiting payment. So on the inside Acumatica, I'm going to go to Payments tab. I'm going to select Create Prepayment. So here I'm going to leave our defaults in here, except for I'm going to change our payment method. We're going to select our credit card payment method. So here we can process stored cards. This customer does have a stored card on file, but we're going to enter a new card. So I'm going to select New Card. And again, we're going to authorize. This is not a financial transaction. It's just an authorization, temporary hold on customer's card, ensure the funds are there. So we're going to select Authorize. So it's going to start our processing here. And then here in the pop-up window, we're going to have some options depending on how your Acumatica integration is configured. So in scenarios where you have credit card terminals, you'll be able to select the terminal and run this through a terminal. But here we're going to select and we're going to enter the card manually. If you do have terminals, you can select the terminal here and then activate the terminal and run the card. So I'm just going to enter a credit card detail. Enter our expiration date, CVV. Then I'm going to select Save. This is going to go out to the gateway. It's going to gather the details. It's going to put a pre-authorization temporary hold on the customer's card. And it's going to update our sales order so that we can now continue working with it. So once our Acumatica is updated, you'll notice our status here will change. Our prepayment is already being created and added to the sales order. And now our sales order is open and we can continue processing. So for people who are familiar with Acumatica, this is standard process in Acumatica now. So we're going to create shipment. And once our shipment screen comes up here, we're going to add some freight. My system's decided to run a little slow today. I apologize. So we're going to go and we're just going to add, I'm going to set some terms in here to default. Some freight. So we're going to add $15 in freight. We're going to confirm our shipment. And now we're going to process this further. So we're going to go to Prepare Invoice. So because I have Capture for More enabled in this environment, we're going to have the option here at the sales or in the sales order invoice to additionally capture the payment. Once we have our invoice on our Applications tab, you'll notice our pre-authorized prepayments followed through onto the invoice. And we have an unpaid balance of $15. So we have an authorized amount of $220. Our sales invoice is in a pending processing status. And you notice here we have auto capture for more selected. All we have to do in this scenario is select capture. And this is going to automatically update the payment amount to the balance of the invoice, capture that amount and apply it to the invoice without any intervention, any additional steps. Once we process here, our invoice will open to or set to the balance status, and we can release and process further. Before I do that, we'll just look at we're going to drill into our payment. And here's our payment. It's now open. Processing status of the gateway is captured. And if you look at our card processing tab, you have the additional history of what happened here. So you have you can track the ability that you authorized for this amount, but you captured for this amount. It shows the dates and then the corresponding transaction reference numbers from the gateway. So fully integrated, this payment can be voided, refunded, just like any other integrated payment that you've done inside Acumatica. I simply just release our invoice and it'll close. We do offer this functionality in batch processing as well. So if you're shipping, you're creating pre-auths on the sales order, Again, and this all can be done in batch processing. That sales order can ship, they confirm it, add freight. At the end of the day, you have 5, 10, 100 sales orders to or shipments to invoice. You invoice, and then there's a separate processing screen for also capturing the pre-auths in batch, so you don't have to do them one by one. So this is a little insight into just two of our features that we offer within our integration. We have a lot of additional features that I would love to go over with you in more detail, but unfortunately, I don't think we have that much time on this call. I think we're coming towards the end here, but we would happy to set a one or reach out and we can do a one-on-one demo at any time with anybody. And go over any one of our additional features. We do have functionality that we call click to pay, where you can send links off of sales orders for customers to pay and enter their credit card details directly on their own without having to enter details in Acumatica. It also provides a customer portal where they can maintain all their sales orders, quotes, invoices. We do allow that same processing on quotes in Acumatica. So where Acumatica doesn't allow payments on quotes, we do. We also provide up in the customer portal ability for them to pay multiple invoices, apply credit memos to those invoices, apply debit memos, and send payments directly from customer portal. We also have additional features, again, that we would be happy to show in a one-to-one demo. For fee recovery, for scenarios where you're looking to pass along fees on any credit card payments, we do have a solution that provides that.